Hello, Internet, and welcome back to another episode of Can It Run on the Steam Deck? My name is James, and today we're looking at a brand new release. This just came out today. I've had about an hour into this. I've been pretty excited for this, and so far I'm really digging it. The game is called Stray. Um, it actually is Steam Deck verified, so that means that the game has been fully verified to work on the Steam Deck, which is a good sign. Performance here, any loading. I'm running this off of an SD card, so this is probably the worst case scenario, but loading times have been absolutely fine. And yeah, there's something really interesting about the performance of this game, and I'll definitely talk through that as we kind of explore this game, because it's pretty interesting, and you might initially be a little discouraged when you start this game thinking that it's not going to run well. So resolution scale I've set to 100%. My max frame rate I've just locked to 30. It's a really good looking game, and I personally prefer all the settings set to high just to show, just to get to see the visual showcase of this game. I think it's definitely worth it. Locking it to 30, because this game has a lot of atmosphere, and getting to see that in full detail is good. So I'm going to jump into a new game here, and we'll see how we do here. Things start pretty promising. Seems a pretty steady 30. There's little dips here and there. This game, for those that don't know, is you play as a cat in a kind of a post-apocalyptic world. I haven't got too far into the story. It's definitely a game that's focused a lot on kind of world building and storytelling through its environment, because you play a cat that obviously can't talk. You're picking up the pieces of the story as you kind of play along. So yeah, there's a few little dips here and there in this beginning area. It's really unstable. I actually have in my settings, there's button prompts. I decided to turn those off because I felt the game kind of held your hand a lot with those button prompts. Although we're going to play with this other cat's tail for a bit. If you're a fan of cats, this game will definitely scratch that itch. Pardon the pun. So these are kind of either our family or just our buddies. You get introduced to this little gang of characters here. There's not much else I can do, but kind of have a little sleep here. And yeah, so far frame rate's a little unstable, right? Then you jump to this cutscene, and the frame rate takes a huge dive. Huge dive, and that had me a little worried. And I'm guessing it has something to do with maybe some of the transparency effects or the way it's blurring. Yeah, it's barely hitting 15-ish frames, which is not good. And we kind of come to this open world section in the outdoors of this kind of post-apocalyptic world. And unfortunately for this beginning part, the frame rate doesn't really hold up as well as maybe it should. Which had me a little worried when I first started playing this. So yeah, as you can see, we're kind of in 20 frames per second territory. Which, yeah, makes things look really stuttery and not so great. So yeah, as the game kind of loaded in here, I was a little worried. I'm like, oh my gosh, this feels sloppy, unresponsive. This doesn't feel like a great experience. And so we can maybe change some of our graphics settings. Going to medium. Bumps the frame rate up a bit. We're still not really getting a smooth 30 frames. Like, this is a bit more playable, but not great. If we go to low, we're now getting kind of close to what I would call playable. Mostly in the 30s, but it kind of dips. Unfortunately, once you see the game running in high settings, it's a bit of a shame to have it dip to low settings. The other thing you could do is there's a resolution scale you can play with, but I just find it makes the image look not too sharp, which is a bit of a shame. So at this stage, I'm like, okay. Playing at low settings, it looks fine. Maybe I'll play this on my main PC. But there is hope. Keep watching this video. Because the weird thing is, once we make it out of this area, the frame rates kind of evens out a bit. So this initial area, for whatever reason, I don't know if it's like the foliage that's causing this game to have a hard time on the Steam Deck. Yeah, we're still hitting pretty low frame rates in high settings. And I haven't had a ton of time to kind of play to figure out what the culprit is. Like, is it this effect setting? I mean, that helps a little bit. But yeah, this initial first little level is very performance taxing, which doesn't make a great impression out of the box. I'm gonna try and speed through this so we can get a more accurate representation of how the game performs. And it's actually at this point, this specific cutscene, I noticed that from this point, the frame rate kind of steadies itself and stays within a playable rate at a good kind of quality setting. So yeah, unfortunately, you get separated from your fellow cat mates, and once you enter kind of this less organic, more kind of cyberpunky, dystopian scene, the frame rate kind of stays around 30. Which is weird. I have a feeling it might just be the foliage that's causing the frame rate to tank. Basically, from this point on, the frame rate will stay around 30 frames per second. Yeah, there is going to be some dips here and there. But I found once we got to this point, the performance really does level out. One thing I would recommend, there's this show button prompt, which basically shows anytime you can jump. I found that a little kind of like, almost like it's holding your hand through the game, if that makes sense. I found it a lot more enjoyable having that prompt off. It felt like I was a bit more in control of the game versus the game kind of telling me where to go. Like as I'm looking around, I'm kind of figuring it out for myself versus seeing a button prompt that's telling me where to go. If that kind of makes sense. But of course now I am lost on where to go. But yeah, I find the platforming a lot more enjoyable without those button prompts. But yeah, if you like games that kind of tell a story through kind of the world that it presents, this is a great game from what I've played so far. Puzzle solving is pretty light so far. Little stuff like that, right? Like it's not gonna, you're not gonna rack your brain. Of course, you can do cat-like things like knock things off of ledges. There's a meow button, which is quite charming. You can also turn off these prompts that kind of show how to interact with things in the world. But I found that a little more helpful to have on. Since you are a cat, you can obviously take a little scratch at the rug, because it's just what cats do. The world is just so detailed. It's kind of one of those games where the more you kind of look at all the details, the more of the story you can kind of piece together, if that makes sense. This bucket. I mean, how adorable is that? I had my daughter watch me play through a bit of this today, and yeah, she was quite fascinated with the little kitty. Yeah, as far as settings, I mean, if we go down to medium and turn off, if you're looking to go 60, could we get there? First I'm gonna need to turn my frame limit off. I don't think, unless we turn our resolution scale down, I don't think we're gonna get there. Oh, maybe we will. Yeah, from what I can tell, the frame rate's just very inconsistent. And playing at a lower resolution scale just makes edges and things look a little crusty, would be the word that I would kind of use to describe that. Maybe that's not coming across on the video, but I generally prefer to play these things at native resolution. Although this is a good section to kind of test our frame rate here. So we're getting close to 60. but also our resolutions get off of me. Yeah, this game isn't terribly challenging. There are spots where you may have to retry it a few times. The game also does a great job of kind of navigating you. If you follow these kind of neon signs, that's usually a good indication of where the game wants you to go. And I think that's part of the story, because you'll notice there's TVs in the world that are kind of speaking to you in a sense. And I'm still so early in that I'm trying to figure out what that kind of means. This section took me a couple of tries when I first played it. So you can turn your resolution scale. You could play around with that. Personally, I think I would rather be at 100% and have a frame rate of 30. So yeah, I can't say whether this is a definitive buy for you. So far I'm enjoying it, but granted I'm only an hour in. So far it's been a lot of platforming and some light puzzle solving. It actually reminds me a bit of Firewatch, which was another game that kind of like gameplay takes a backseat to kind of telling a story through its kind of world building. And that's what this kind of reminds me of so far. I've just made it to a part in the game where it's kind of opened up a little bit. I obviously don't want to spoil that for obvious reasons if you're planning to play through this. I think if what you've seen so far hasn't interested you, then this game probably isn't for you. I've heard that it's a fairly short game. I think about 5 to 6 hours, depending on how slowly you kind of explore the world, obviously. And it's a fairly cheap game. For me, I think it was about $30 Canadian. Which I enjoy these type of games, so I'm happy to pay that to play this. I should probably stop this video because I could keep playing it. But yeah, in terms of performance, I would say that initial setting is really hard on the performance, but as you can kind of see once you get past it, this is more than playable. If you're expecting 60 frames out of this, you could lower your resolution settings. But like I said, part of the appeal of this game is just how good it looks, and why would you want to sacrifice that? Alright, well, yeah, I think that will wrap it up for our look at Stray on the Steam Deck. I hope this video was helpful. If you picked up Stray, I would love to know your thoughts so far from what you've played in the comments. If there's a game you would like to see me kind of play through a little bit on the Steam Deck, again, feel free to reach out. I thank you all for watching, and until the next time, have a good night.